Yes, you are.
All right. Welcome everybody. Hi, I hope you're having a nice day today. And I can see that there are like some people here in the Zoom channel, and then probably there are a lot of people watching from the YouTube live too. I'm sure all of you guys are of like different ages, and they are coming from like different parts of the world. And I'm sure you all had like different upbringing as well. What we're discussing here, well, it can be really relatable to everyone because we'll be focusing on the theme of differences. Have you ever thought of like something from your childhood that there were some things that your parents could have handled it better? Or like for the parents here, are you having a hard time understanding your child or like figuring out what are they thinking? Well, in here, we'll be bringing the mindsets of two generations together to understand more from their point of views, and we'll discuss how these two very different generations can somehow learn from one another. Before we get started, let's introduce our panelists for this workshop. My name's Eunice and I'm 21 this year.
Hi, I'm Abhirami. I'm 24 years old, which practically makes me Gen Z, a cool Gen Z, in fact. And I'm pursuing Bachelor's of Mass Communication. Hi, guys.
Yo, what's up? My name is Izan and I'm 21 years old, which is very, very, very Gen Z. So I'm giving you the vibe and energy that Gen Z have. Cool.
만나서 반가워요. 저는 회사예요. Which means, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Huisan. And I'm Gen Z as well. Today, 21 years old, from Malaysia. Thank you.
All right, I'm Michael Ryan. You can call me Ryan or Michael. Anyone would do. I'm 22 years old, and I'm considered Gen Z. Yes, I am. And it's nice to meet you guys. I hope you guys enjoy our talk tonight. Today.
Yo, what's up, peeps? Stitch over here. I'm a 21-year-old musician from Malaysia, also YouTuber. It's nice to be here to talk about this topic. Let's go.
Oh, is it anyone else? No? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Hey guys, I'm Ruben and I'm 25 years old, so that sort of makes me the dad of the group. I'm on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z, so I have two different perspectives and I'm pumped to be here. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm Sneaker. I'm so pumped to be here and share my views. And fun fact, I'm the youngest in this group, so definitely a new perspective to hear too.
All right. Now that you guys know our names, let's get this workshop started. I'm sure you all we're gonna have like plenty of like comments or question later on. Well, you can actually write it here in the chat box in Zoom, or you can also like write in the chat box in the YouTube channel. So, all right, we'll start our workshop for now. Okay, so I'm sure that all of you guys had like different childhood in like in your past, and then I'm sure that you remember something that your parents had taught you and everything, and then it has influenced how the way you think right now. So I would like to ask our first panelist for the day, Abby, for about like her upbringing and how does it influence her now, the person she is now.
Thank you, Eunice, for the question. It's actually a very wonderful question. Childhood, in fact, was the best part of my life. I mean, I would actually do anything to go back to that phase of my life, but then pretty much impossible. But I don't know how many of you could relate with this me right now, but I didn't basically have any kind of, worries of like sharing or, sharing my cookies and cupcakes with any siblings or anything, because, practically I'm the only child for my parents. So that itself gave this great deal of privilege there. So that's that. And in another way, childhood was pretty much amazing, mainly because of, because of them and my parents. But I pretty much love to call them my best friends. And they are, I think I have a lot of friends, but they are my best friends. Everyone comes after them. And if you ask me, apart from, like I said, apart from the cookies and cupcake privileges, it was them who made it fun, and they made a great childhood for me. Because you see, I have friends, even cousins, who come up to me and be like, you've got the atypical parent, you've got like parents who are like friends and all those things. They come to me and they say that, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I mean, that's true. I'm lucky enough to have them. But then, I've never like put so much of thought into why are they saying that, what makes them come up to such notion and stuff. Because okay, if my parents like one fine day turned out to be very friendly and stuff, okay, I'll understand why are they doing that. I think I would have thought that way, but always been that way. I think ever since the time I was able to differentiate apple from orange, what I know from my parents, they're like the super cool fun buddies, I've had since childhood, who never put any sort of ground rules or anything while growing up. It was pretty, like, I really wish I could like give you a glimpse of that, but then that's a lot to talk about. So like going back to how I was raised, like I don't think I've ever had any difficulty in telling them anything, or I've never thought like, okay, today I've done hell lot of things at school, lots of trouble. Because I used to come home bearing lots of complaints from everyone, but then especially from my teachers. But I've never had any difficulty in telling that to them. I mean, I used to share, and they used to be like, they weren't intimidating to a point that I should worry, I should like hide it to them. I've never had that. So pretty much frame them as the ideal parents who deal situation in a very subtle manner, or like I can say that they're the definition of cool buddies. But if you have to say if there is any rules or something at home, I think that one rule I've always, actually everyone, mom, dad, myself, everyone followed was to be honest and open with each other. Like that was the key thing there. If there is anything, then that's very important for us, being honest and open. It doesn't matter what sort of trouble you're in, just tell it to them, just share it with my parents, and it'll make me feel better. And I used to have this very cute notion, what, if I become, if I be very open and honest with my parents, then I'm not going to get into trouble. So that was like an 8-year-old kid's mentality, but it was always been there. It's like part of who I am. And now right now when I think about it, I am that person. I am a very honest and an open person, and right now I think by being that way, it has made me how to say that, I'm kind of like making peace with myself. And not only that, I'm actually doing good to other people. I'm being genuine with the people around me, and that makes me who I am. So if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for the kind of parents they were, the kind of, the way they raised me, their perspectives, I don't think I'll be who I am right now. And I wouldn't be that independent girl who has the courage to do what my heart says, what I feel right. So I think that's one thing that has influenced me throughout my life.
All right. Okay. So like for Abi's part, it's because like she was the only daughter, and then like her parents were able to like focus on her and let her to be like open around them and to like communicate it well with her and everything. But then like what if it's because like she was like the only child, that's why they could do that. So maybe we could like listen to like some of our panelists here, who is actually, one of them is actually the eldest sister, the eldest daughter in the family. And then I would love to hear about her thoughts, because like she has like 2 younger siblings, and then she has to act like exactly like a mother figure to them. So let's welcome Huisan. I would like to hear more about your thoughts about this. Like, do you think that you can be like open and genuine around your parents as well when it comes to when it compared to that Abi's case?
Well, I think Abi's story is definitely different from mine, because like she can become friends with her parents and talk about anything, and then they can become friends hanging out together. But for my case, when you're born in an traditional Asian family, and as the first child and also the female of the child, you will get a lot of responsibility for that, because I have 2 younger siblings, and I have to take care of them, and then I have to look after them because my parents not always here at all the time. So I am the person in the family that need to take care of everything. And I was expect to carry out responsibility as the eldest in the family, because like parents, they always believe that the first child are the most independent one and capable for everything. So they give the least attention to us, but they give the most attention to the youngest in the family. And also, if we make mistakes like us, like the first child, so they will say, why you make this mistake and why you do that and why you do it. But when we do it well, nobody will look at it and nobody will take care of it. Like, oh, you do this well because you should do that. So I think this kind of expectation as the first child here is kind of unfair, because I didn't choose to born first, but I have to bear the most, because like taking care of siblings is not an easy task, because they are different age and also like different mindset. You have to treat them differently, especially now even though I'm Gen Z, my youngest brother is, oh my god, like he knows Minecraft, like all those gaming things that I didn't know as well. So I have to blend in their world to know more. So I have to study more than them, even though I have my own study and also as a student. So that's why I think for my family, it's totally different from Avi family, because as a first child, you get the most responsibility of the family. But after growing up, I kind of understand why they behave like this, because they expect me to become the bond of the family and between the sibling as well. They want me to take care of them, so we build a good relationship, even though I didn't. So, yeah, like I'm the first child, and they say like it's their first time of becoming a parent. So we have to communicate with them for our understanding, and they understand their perspective as well, from my opinion. So yeah.
All right. Are any of our other panelists response here? Maybe you guys could weigh in. Like,
I want to
like
say
maybe.
something.
Dude, same, dude, same, man.
Yeah.
Two Michaels are going to say something.
All right.
What is this?
Let's bring it up to the first Michael first.
Wait, which is the first Michael?
the one with the dog behind.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All
okay,
right.
fine.
All right. So, I could relate in a way. I mean, I'm the youngest in the family. I would say I, in a way, followed my elder brother a lot, and my sister. You got to, yeah, youngest, right? So you got to like, you look at them as an example because they're basically your elders, right? And I would say I took a lot of liking to my sister, because we both just connect to a better understanding, because we both like to converse with each other, and we both have the same how would I say mindset. And my sister is like 3 years elder than me, so we're not that far off, but we both just connect easily compared to my brother, because my brother is like 8 years older than me, and I would say he was born in a different generation or a different era. So his mindset, his way of thinking was more towards like my parents. Because my parents were very not traditional. I would say they were more, their methods and their ways were more how they were brought up as an adult, how they were brought up. So their traditional ways to have a good career, to have their end goal was basically marriage. I would say most Asian families' end goal is marriage. So my brother had that mindset of marriage, it's like the end goal of all Asian life. Yeah. So like my brother followed my parents most. So when I talk to my brother, we don't really click, but we do come up with topics that we could connect to one another. My sister and me very easily, because we both are basically almost in the same generation gap wise. So I would say I took a lot of examples from my siblings, because siblings are one of the few people that you live with your entire life. Basically, the people you see them like every day of your entire life. You wake up, you see them. Sometimes they come in your room, they disturb you. Those are the people that you have built your bond with, and you know them from A to Z. So those people are the people that you tend to trust more. And so those are the people that you tend to grow together with. Same goes for parents as well. You tend to grow together with them, and together you guys build a bond. It could be positive, it could be a negative one. So in my opinion, I feel like siblings and parents play a very vital role in shaping your children, no matter what no matter what age you are, or no matter you're the third, the first, or the second in the family. You're just gonna learn from the people that you grew up with, or the people that you surround yourself with. That's what I feel that I could relate to Purisan in a way. Even though she's the eldest, I'm the youngest. Not totally different, totally different, but in a way. All right. You, Michael. Michael, number 2. Michael, you got a nice name, dude. Gotta admit that.
I do have a nice name, a beautiful name. We both do, but I go by this guy's name, Stitch. But yeah, I'm just like the other Michael. I'm the youngest in the family as well. But being the youngest or eldest in my family doesn't really play a role to how my parents look at us. My family is just like 100% disciplined. Because my mom comes from an Indian family, and we all know Indian family in Malaysia, 100%, like Bollywood, you do something wrong, just whack you nicely, And my dad, he's not from an Indian family, but he joined the military when he was 18. So like the military was his life. So if I was either getting Indian family discipline, like military family discipline, or most of the time I'm getting both of that, So like, well, other kids were going to sleep at like 11 p.m., 12 p.m. I was going to sleep at 8 p.m., waking up at like 8 a.m. in the morning, and in a way that really affected my life, because it made me realize what I like and what I don't like. I'm more of a night person. All my ideas, all my music ideas come at night, and sleeping early at a very young age, I was so underproductive because of that. And then it made me realize what I wanted. And because we had all these rules and regulations, you must sleep at this time, you got to have dinner before 7 p.m. because mom will close the kitchen at 7 p.m. That's right, my kitchen in my house closes at 7 p.m. It's like a restaurant, until today, we have tons of rules. And all these rules and regulations made me realize what I liked, what I don't like, and at the same time made me rebel more, which in this case, it was difficult for my parents, because they come from a time where, okay, if your parents tell you something, you listen, no matter whether you like it or not. There's that respect there, But in this generation, we also have this thing where if you have respect for yourself, you'll go out and do what you like, And it was difficult for me as well to go against my parents, because like the first 15 years of my life, I was like listening to my parents for everything. I don't even think about what I want. I just do what my parents want. And then I started rebelling, going for music concerts, putting myself out there, coming back at 5 o'clock in the morning when I should be waking up at 4. And, it was hard for my parents. It was hard for me as well. But slowly, it also helped them understood as I made them come for my events, see me on stage, see me beatbox, see me sing. And they slowly understood that, this is not a typical Asian thing, like our son wants to do music. I would rather he be a lawyer or like a businessman or something. Music, but they realized I loved it, that I really enjoyed it, and it really made me shine in a different way, and so they started being less strict. Not to say they accepted it fully, but they were trying to be more cool about it. And yeah, that was it for my parents. Like I was the youngest, but being the youngest didn't really have an effect. I didn't get like any extra privileges or any extra attention. We all had the same thing. Like every cupboard in my house has like a cane on top of it. You do anything wrong in my house, doesn't matter where you are, my dad will just reach up, take the cane, and just like beat the hell out of us, discipline, whatever. But yeah, that was how my household was how I grew up in my household. Pretty different. Yeah.
All right. Yes, Susan.
Actually, after hearing Stage, Michael, and Hui-san, right? I think, right, because I also grow up as the eldest in a family member, so I understand the responsibility that Hui-san have, because we are eldest, so we are expected to be a role model for our siblings. And then yes, I'm Asian. I mean, I grew up in a very Asian family. So basically, if you don't get A in your exam, that doesn't make you an Asian. That makes you a Asian. So I think, right, in a family, in the Asian family household, it's not just about being a role model to siblings. However, being the eldest, right, you were expected to be perfectly from every single way, from academic, from behavior, and even to set a role model for your siblings. Of course, just like what Stitch had mentioned, we try to be rebellious. We try to say that, oh, we don't want to do that. I mean, like, we are human beings. We are not perfect. But right now, of course, I go through the teenager year where I actually tried to voice out my opinion. But right now, thinking back, all of these things that happened to me, like for example, I'm voicing out my opinion. I say I'm not perfect. I don't want to be the stereotypical Asian kids that you want me to do. They have a point, they say, oh, this strict rule, they have a point, because all their strict rule makes me, who am I today? I'm being competitive, which is depends on how you think. Maybe some of y'all think that it's bad. Why are you being so competitive? But in another way, it actually pushed me to work harder towards my goal and my success. And this strict rule actually protected me from a lot of unnecessary trouble. Like for example, we all know that, okay, I'm not offense to anyone who's smoking or drinking alcohol or being alcoholic. Okay, I'm just saying that it's actually they prevent us from doing something that is maybe danger to us, and it's not good for our health. So yes, it's strict, and then it's actually not a very good memory. But thinking in another way, it's actually kind of good, that shapes our good behavior for me. So I was thinking that maybe in the future, if I already have a kid, I might use the same method on how my parents did to me in a very strict Chinese household family toward my kids. But at the same time, I'm confused as well, like I've been through all of this. I know it doesn't feel good. It's like freedom versus strict parents. Freedom, yes, you are freedom, but sometimes you lost track. You are not sure whether you did right or wrong, and then somehow you can get involved with love. Not kind of good things. And then having a strict parent, yes, you can behave yourself. You can somehow success in a stereotypical way, like oh, success go, working. Yes, you can do that. However, it's kind of suffocating, like strict rules, follow what your parents did, something like that. So what do you guys think about this?
I just want to add something, just now I saw Miss Ruby Wong mentioning here, my daughter sleeps at 1 or 2 a.m. Modern day parenting are different. I think I can reflect what she said to you. By the way, thank you guys for being there. I mean, coming to support.
Yes, welcome everybody.
Thanks for being there, guys. We really appreciate that. Like how Miss Ruby Wong said, I'm pretty sure, even when I get the whole competitive part, because your parents had this expectation in you, some sort of things in you, like how they wanted that competitive environment, how they created this competitive environment and stuff. But the pros and cons of it, right? So I believe, like, if it was me in your place, I'm pretty sure when it comes to my children, yes, definitely the competition thing will be there. But then I think you'll focus more on the positive side, because you'll give them a very subtle environment. Competition is important, but then I'm very sure the parenting way will change, because I don't think our parents are exactly treating us the same way they were treated by their parents, because they do consider other factors, like how our friends are, how the environment is, how the current generation is. I'm pretty sure all these factors are a huge, they're like huge ingredients into raising the kids. So basically, when you are raising your kid, I'm pretty sure you're going to be a great mom, but you will take this into account for sure. Don't you guys think?
Yes,
I could. Oh, sorry, Eunice, you're saying something?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just that I believe that when it comes to your kid, it's gonna be another different parenting, because you will at that time you're gonna relate to what they're gonna feel like. For example, in the past, that being raised in a competitive household, there are like a lot of like you're gonna feel like a bit suffocated for some time, because like there are so many strict rules and everything. But then like now that you understand how this works, and how did it influence you, the you are now. So I mean, still, even though it seems easy to like just follow your parents' footsteps, but at the same time, you still need to reconsider of what are the consequences you're gonna let your children experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly.
Michael, what do
Yeah.
you want to say?
So I saw the comments about Anissa that she said about how her parents were strict, but then they give her freedom, but it has to be like anything that freedom wise should be like ethically right and should not be ethically wrong. And I could relate to that in some way where I feel like, yeah, there's freedom and being strict, and how would I say, just because the parents are being strict, right? Doesn't mean like being strict and suffocating are two different things. Parents should, in a way, have their own standing on the ground where they should have their, their A, B's, and C's to teach their kids what's right, what's wrong, ethically and what's ethically not wrong. And then there's the other one, which is suffocating. Suffocating is basically not allowing your kids to go out at all because the fear of they might get hurt. And when you live in that safe bubble, or when the kids live in a safe bubble, as in the parents having the fear of the kids getting hurt by like everything, the kids would, when they actually do go out, I've seen this many times of like many of my friends, when they were so safe in their bubble that when they actually went out, they got so like lost because and I don't blame them for this because they've never actually really seen how the world is and how harsh it could be. It's never sunshine and butterflies, but then you have to be out there, you have to feel how the world is to learn from it. So parents being strict and suffocating is two different things. Strict, definitely, you parents should have teach their kids what's right, what's wrong. Tell them this things is wrong, like drugs is wrong and murder, like I don't know, cheating maybe. But then like in a way you can't expect your kid to be so safe, or you're being so afraid that your kid might get hurt that you keep him or her in such a closed box that when they finally do go out, they get hurt. And when they get hurt so bad, it's to the extent where they're psychologically traumatized. when they're psychologically traumatized by it, that's when things could go bad like really fast. So from what I would say is parents and kids should have a very, how would I say, balanced relationship together, and they should not suffocate their kids so much so that when they actually go out that they just get hurt. And when they get hurt really badly. They don't know how to recover from what they go through. Does it make sense? So from what I could hear from Yizin, right, I would say, yes, when you grow up, yes, being strict is okay, but it's to a certain extent where it doesn't feel like you're hiding your kids from the world. You get what I mean? You don't want to hide them away. They have to see what the world is for. It is a chaotic, messy world, but then it is where we live in, and it's how we ourselves look at it. It's a chaotic, there's this word for it, chaotic messy, right? It's also cool as well. But yeah, the world is chaotic messy, but then it's just our perspective on it. That makes sense.
I kind of have a question for that. Okay, I have a kind of question for that. If let's say we are the parents right now, and then you know that your children is actually hanging out with it's a bunch of like gangster, will you stop them? If let's say you say that, oh, I'm giving them freedom, will you stop that, or you will let them die? Okay, you get experience, then you get hurt.
Like I said,
okay, interesting question.
To a certain extent, right? They have to know. You have to teach them the A, B's, and C's. But then, if you smother them in all these safe blankets, all these shields, and all these locks, they would. It's prone. People that are so smuggled and don't know anything are prone to fall for all this influence easier compared to people that actually already know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you smuggle your kids so much, and when you finally get out, and then these people are so accepting to them, and you don't know these people, they could be anyone. They are prone to fall for it easier compared to people that are like not say too much freedom, people that are in the balance, that know, that already wasn't smothered in like safety blankets. They would know, oh, these people are bad. No, I've learned this from friends. That they're horrible people, or like they themselves know that these people are bad, because they have seen it with their own eyes. Does that make sense?
I don't think so, because basically, I'm not sure whether you guys actually experienced that before. Like basically, if you're a bunch of friends, right, is doing something, and then if you don't do that, it will feel like, oh, you're weird. Why you don't dare to try? Is it? So if let's say your children are actually persuaded to do something, like for example committing a crime, and then you know that it's bad, will stop them, and then the children, okay, perhaps you think that oh, my children won't take part, that he can think by himself. But sometimes because of peer pressure, and then they were persuaded to do that because they don't want to lose any friends, they want to feel weird because it's their generation thing. Like for example, sending nude photos is the trend during the younger generation, and you know that it's a very dangerous kind of thing, but they still do it because of the peer pressure. So in that case, will you started to set the rules with them? Will you consider yourself as a strict parents?
Okay, I have something to say to that, actually. You see, just now Michael was saying how, you should have like a good relationship with your children, like communication wise and all that. So I feel like when you have a good communication relationship with them and you persuade things in the right way, they will understand. So even if peer pressure comes in, it will not affect them because they know their rights and wrongs from home itself. Unless you put them in such a safe zone that they don't choose to know what's outside, and you also don't let them see what's outside, they will fall in the trap. Because my family, they tried so hard to put me under shields. They really did, but I rebelled against it. I went through it and I saw the world myself. Because if not, I might be one of those people as well. I would have fallen the trap as well. But based off experience, if someone would have told me, I wouldn't have gone through a lot more damage than I did right now, maybe.
Exactly. That's what I meant by people that are not smothered in protection blankets are harder to fall for these traps. The people that are so like new to this world, they don't know anything. They are the ones that want to impress their friends more compared to people that already are so used to these things. Because for them, they already build up their attitude, their character. They already know who they are by themselves. And these people which are new to this world, they are just basically starting to find who they really are. So they are prone to try things, new things. Those are the people that are prone to try new things left and right because they don't know who themselves are. Because they've been brought up to the point where they've been told who they should be and not who they are, who they really are. So that's why I feel like people who are so protected in this safe bubble are the ones that are easier to fall for all these traps, all these mishaps, all these people that they don't really shouldn't talk to. I feel like, yeah, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense, Mike, because see, Sneka mentioned about the communication part, right? And how it is important. See, the thing is, there will be certain kind of pressure in a certain age. Like Ethan, like you said, thanks for stating that those matters as well. But some kids, they also face problems in communicating to their parents. Like how, okay, it's just me putting out there how I had that freedom with my parents. Not necessarily everyone's going to have that. Definitely not. I mean, right now I'm realizing when I was a kid, no, I thought every parents are going to be the same way, but it's different. Every household is different. But communication is very, very essential in all these things. And if it doesn't work, okay, you can't just communicate with your parents. Why not find a common ground? Start up with a normal conversation, which can lead you to a proper, which allows you to create a rapport with your parents. It's not like every family is going to have like a fairy tale thing, right? So why not start with something simple where you can relate, like what Ethan, like politics. I'm pretty sure that Ethan loves that topic. So start with at least politics with your parents. You will have a pretty good conversation there. So if in certain situation, if you end up in trouble, I really believe that you need to communicate. And again, it was Ruby Wong. I love her comments when she says that giving you freedom isn't license to ruin your life, and it's not a generation issue anymore. Haha. Yes, true. Freedom is not a license to ruin your life, right? So if at all you went through that track, you messed it up at some point, you have to understand, no matter how strict your parents are, no matter however they are, they're still your parents. You have to understand that you still can go back to them. If you still don't have that hope, at least establish that hope, you establish that by communicating and having, just build it up by yourself. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, actually, like on Abhi's point, right? Finding the common ground for some families can be really hard. If you ask me to find a common ground right now, my parents, it will take me years. I probably will get married by the time I find it, because that will be a topic for me to talk to my mom about. But it really takes time. Like for example, like earlier we were hearing Hui-san's story. My story is very much similar to Hui-san's story. I'm the elder one. I have a younger sibling. A 10 years age gap is where I have to be the mom. And it's very, very difficult to be the mom because I can't even take care of myself right now. Like, what more will take care of a sibling of mine? So looking at how, like Abhi said just now, finding the common ground for some families is going to take years. It's really going to take years. And other than politics, yes, politics can bring everyone together, definitely. But other than politics, I think something we can find common grounds is something that I've learned is find their good mood time. When you're in a good mood and you can find that time with them, like what I mean by good mood is not like, when you're cooking good mood, like actually good mood. Sometimes you can actually tell your parents in a very good mood and you go like, okay, so you're in a good mood now, so I need to talk to you about something. And then you go to them because it somehow rather works in certain scenarios. And I feel like there's something just now Abhi mentioned how like, finding a common ground where it can be anything. So it really comes back to what your parents see as their favorite things or their good sides before you trying to fix up something there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Speaking of like common grounds, like even because like our generations are too different, and then finding common grounds can be like very difficult when it comes to like similar values or like similar similar thoughts and everything. So it's like what they don't know, they don't understand. You guys agree to that? And then it's because like sometimes when you talk to parents about like your choices about your career choices or your like education choices, and then they would somehow like question like, what is this gonna do? What is this gonna help your future? How is this gonna help your future? How are you gonna make money from this? So it's like if you have to like find the common ground for this, kind of difficult. And then how are you planning to like discuss about all of to get closer with your parents in terms of like communication when it comes to things like this?
Okay, Eunice, if I may give my perspective on this. So like you mentioned, we have to find a common ground, right? Like for me, I have a lot of esoteric interests, as you guys know. So it's sort of very hard for me, like not just my parents, but people in general. So what I mainly do is try to go on a surface level before I go in deeper, like how Ashleka mentioned, like maybe politics or something that they actually know and they can talk about. Yeah, that all of us know, and we can talk about that. And as you mentioned about education, since I believe that it shouldn't just be one side that does everything. Like, yes, parents, they should try to take an interest in their children, but the child also has an obligation to try to make their parents understand. They cannot just leave it to their parents to come to them for everything. They also have to find a middle ground. So like you mentioned, like, me, I'm doing journalism as my major, and my parents they didn't really understand why I wanted to do that, because for them, they didn't see a career in journalism. But what I made them understand is I showed them my writings. Like, I used to write a lot for magazines, so I showed them, and that's basically how I made them understand. Like, through that, they could see my passion, my interests, and that made them like, oh, okay, my kid is really into this. So through that, they were like, okay, fine. If that's what you really want to do, go for it. Because at the end of the day, our parents are concerned for us. They do not want us to screw up, especially in university, because after this, we are going to the working world. And if we screw up in university, it's very hard for us to find a job. So at the end of the day, they just want what's best for us. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then speaking, sorry, Snika.
Sorry, Eunice, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. You can talk first. Yeah.
No, I mean, when Ruben was, mentioning about journalism, how it's very odd for like, for the culture to know what is this, there's no job in that. I think an advice I can give here is, there is more jobs aside from being a lawyer, from being a doctor, from being an engineer, businessman. So there is so much more to the world job scope compared to what we see as the 4 barriers. So I think, it's going to take time. If there are, teenagers who are looking into other than the 4 fields, who are thinking right now, like, is my parents going to accept this? Not going to accept this? They will. Eventually, they will. Like Ruben said, they are concerned first. They are concerned for living in the future. So they will at one point come to it and be like, okay, it's your passion. Okay, go for it. So don't give up on your passion. Don't give up on your hope. We have Stitch, who's a musician here. So don't give up on your passion. It will be there.
Right. And then actually, okay, there's one opinion from Ruby. It's a tomato situation. Yeah. Yes, their concerns are always to be on your well-being, like on they're just trying to like they hope that you're gonna survive in like your future, because like it's very hard to survive in the real world, and then you really have to like earn money every time if you have to put food on the table and everything, and then they just want you to have like an easier life. I'm sure that some of you guys here had like a lot of like expectation when it comes to in the past, when you had like a lot of expectations when it comes to choosing your own major, right?
Yes.
Accounting, accounting it's not bad, Ruby, it's not bad. Imagine us choosing mass communication. We had like a lot of questions from our parents.
My parents didn't even know what mass comm was.
Yeah, that's what is mass comm? Like, what all things?
They thought communication is something. Mass communication is something like, you just come outside and talk only. Later.
Yeah,
then no one will hire you. I was like, huh? No, mass communication cover more.
Yeah, even like Abhi, you're saying?
Actually, it's hard for them to interpret the whole process. It's especially, in Indian families, we used to have this notion that either you should be an engineer, or you be a doctor, professor, accountant, or lawyer. So I am a family who has all these people in that. So like, most of them are doctors and most of them are engineers, and I'm this person. I want to go for mass comm. So when this was a conversation, it just went haywire. So I think making them understand, it's not about them supporting or not, it's about making them understand what it is.
Yeah, I could relate to that, Ethan. I was in business, and then for degree I did mass comm. Legit was like a bro moment.
You want to go first, Ruben?
Yeah, like for me, like before I came to mass comm, my parents actually tried to. Okay, they were like, okay, if you don't want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, at least go for IT. And that's what I ended up doing for my diploma before I went for mass comm.
Bruh, I feel you, man. Like I could actually relate to Ruby as well, because before this I was an accounting student, and I was super good at accounting. I could be rich right now, but I decided to make videos in my room every day. And like when I told my parents I want to do mass comm, they were like, "You want to go from accounting to mass comm?" And then they're like, "What is mass comm?" I'm like, I don't know. Even I didn't know. I just knew that it was gonna be something in line, and it was the closest thing I had to music. And they were like, "So you want to go to mass comm because it's close to music?" And with Asian Indian parents, music is like a big no-no, especially when you're jumping from accounting to music. That was not a good idea for my parents, man. That was crazy.
So you can see, like, for us, like, we, as long as, even if your parents don't really understand, our parents are still open enough to like hear about our thoughts, our passion, and then we can use it to like convince them that we're really into this and we can make this work, right? But like, imagine like for your parents in the past, but like Miss Shara said that 15 years ago, like mass comm is a definitely no. And then they didn't have the chance to convince their parents that this was their passion. And but also at the same time, given the circumstance, they also have to like make good career choices, put food on the table. So we have to like be grateful to our parents that they're willing to like listen to us when it comes to our career choices, and they let us like choose this for ourselves. All right. So okay. like for example, this is like one education like choice. Wait, sorry, Miss Cheryl. Yeah. Yes, wait till it comes like who we're gonna marry, and then that's like another topic
That's
when it
gonna
comes
be
to
a
like
huge story and
I think when it comes to marriage, right, it's going to be different for male and female, if I'm not mistaken. I think for male it's very lenient, and for female it's different.
Nah, bro, it's like way different now. Like back then, they will probably just ask like typical questions like, okay, race, religion, what?
Oh, you should, yeah, dude.
Yeah. Now it's like so different in today's society, right? When you ask the word, okay, what gender, right? There's like more than 2 answers now. Like you just say non-binary out of nowhere, and then you're like, huh? And then, oh, she's your girlfriend, or she's not my girlfriend. And you're like, but she's a girl, but not my girlfriend. She doesn't identify as a female or a male. Then what is she? She's my partner. Isn't that the same thing? And then you start to have this whole conversation just on the gender of your partner, and that's just gender.
So confused.
Today's society, this makes everything much more confusing and much more scary.
Agree, dude. I agree.
Question come up because even like, you know, it's just like it scares us, it intimidates us. Like when you say something, the sort of expression, because they don't know to hide it and they just show it in your face, and it's just like even hard.
And we can't really blame them for that as well, because it's a totally different era. They were brought up in a different era. They were brought up where it was just male and female, and we were brought up where there's non-binary, there's an attack helicopter.
we got demon pronouns nowadays, man. We got demon pronouns.
There is no gender. Apparently, this generation there is no gender. So it's difficult. Our generation. Yeah, it's difficult. And I don't blame them for that. I don't blame them for not understanding. It's a very difficult generation. Things are changing really fast and really, really rapidly fast. I don't blame them for them questioning like all these things.
And the thing is, when we are at their age, we'll also have the same confusion with our children. Who knows what will happen then? They might not even be human anymore. They might be something else entirely.
Yeah, your son brings back a cyborg. Hey, it's my girlfriend.
I just saw Miss Cheryl and Ruby's comment about marrying late. I mean, I can relate to that. I mean, back in those days, right? If you're not married in 25 or 30, even if you marry in 30, for example, my parents married in 30 years old. They consider very, very late already. So I talked to Trason before about not marrying. Like in my generation, right? I don't think we would like to marry, because just to let you know, we have a term called 月光族 in Chinese, which means that they get what they pay and then they spend all the money in just 1 month. Okay, for example, I just got my salary, I spend it in all of myself. It's just like an investment on myself. If let's say and then I talked to this with Miss Cheryl before, and if let's say we are married, it's not just about 2-person, you know, it's about 2 family, and then you have family to feed, you have two parents to feed, and then you have children. So but you have to know that actually my parents grew up in a generation that marry is the ultimate goal. I don't know who say that, but marrying is the ultimate goal of our life. But the thing is, right, for me, for Hui San, we think that we can do more than just marrying, you know, we can focus on our life, and being alone is cool. It's definitely cool. So we have this kind of conflict with parents. Like, to be honest, if we didn't marry, we would deem as the lonely old woman, which is a very negative term. Tell you guys, yes, my God, yes, exactly. So it's not just about my parents will pressure me, or my grandparents will pressure me. You know, I want to be chill, you know, no marriage. If I can have a boyfriend, but no marriage. I mean, it's just like a tie up thing. It's no freedom. You know, it's tied up. So,
Ethan, I think. Oh, sorry, Hui San, go for it.
No, because Ethan say about the marriage thing, right? But I have a different feeling right now. It's not only about the adults that are pressuring us, also peer pressure, you know. Like our age or younger than us, like 19, 18, they're already getting married or even getting pregnant or even got 2 child. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing right here, single and doing my assignment, worried about what should I do for next semester? But they're already planning for their weddings and then upcoming how they take care of their babies and something like that. So I think the generation now is not only about the pressure from like people elders than us and also our same age, because that's also happening. But you mentioned about the financial issue, right? I don't see like is a problem for generation right now who getting pregnant or getting married together, because for them, like, they can easily get married. I don't know why that they can show off like 18 years old and then they post on Instagram, we are getting married, or I'm pregnant in a baby boy or something. I was like, bro, what the hell? How are you going to raise your baby? I mean, like, I'm 21 years old, and then I'm like, I still got financial issue. I cannot live by my own, but they have a family there. How are they supposed to raise their children? That's what I'm so confused about, you know.
No, marriage comes with a lot of
Wait,
factors,
hold
you
on,
know.
guys.
So
Yeah,
yes,
continue.
Eunice, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Because I was like, I'm very interested in how you guys gonna answer to like Sinfong Chan's question. Like for the males, what happens when your younger sister goes steady with a non-classified gender friend?
Excuse me, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that?
What happens when your younger sister goes steady with non-classified gender friend?
Like an attack helicopter, is that what you're trying to say?
Go steady?
Wait.
Is that a legit phrase?
No,
Go
like-
steady?
Like, to be honest, I wouldn't mind, because for me, it's their life. So they can do whatever they want. It's not for me to decide what they want to do with their life. If they are happy with that friend, go for it. And if I may, like, Yizhen raised an interesting question about birth. And if you notice, like, if you look at the global birth rate nowadays, it's actually declining. So what I believe is, like, for our generation, even if we do get married, we no longer, like, there's no longer any expectation to have children. Like, yes, we can get married, but there's no longer, okay, like, after you get married, you must have children. People are realizing that you don't need children to be happy. Like, you can be perfectly comfortable just by yourself alone or with a partner. You don't need anyone else.
I remember I saw a question before, like for example, okay, just like you mentioned about birth rate were dropping, right? And then this generation have a very kind of huge responsibility on giving birth, and that's why you can see more and more parents are using this excuses like, you should marry, you should give birth. But the thing is, like, we are a generation who actually like to focus on ourselves more. So the question is, would you guys actually have this kind of task and duty that thinks that, oh, I need to give birth just so that we can actually have more generation living in this in this planet or in this family, or you guys would actually think that, oh, I will focus on myself?
No, like, is it okay?
No.
That's
I
none
actually
of my business.
I actually got something about this, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's share.
Okay, so you know the typical Eurasian family thing where like the men will carry on the family name. So for example, if a girl marries me, she takes on my surname Smith, right? But then my sisters, if they marry, let's say, a guy whose name is John Doe, then she becomes a Doe as well, for example, right? In my family, in this current generation, I'm the only guy. So my dad has like 6 brothers and 3 sisters. All of them got no sons. I'm the only one. So I have like this responsibility to, you know, multiply and all that kind of stuff, you know, and I honestly don't really care so much about it. You know, like my growing up, my dad always told me about, you know, you gotta get me a grandson. You know what I'm trying to say? And my dad been telling me that since I was 10, you know what I'm trying to say? But you know, I think it's come to a point where, like, it's what Ruben said, you know, in this current generation, people are realizing that there is no, let the bloodline die out. I mean, people are realizing there's more than one definition to happiness and success. You know, you don't need a partner to be happy. You can just be on your own. You can just be with your partner with no kids. You know, you can do anything you want. Happiness is what you choose it to be, right? And now this is a lot of things, right? For example, I can have a wife, I can have 2 kids, but there's this thing going on where we have an agreement. Okay, maybe the daughter takes my surname and the son takes your surname. Things are very different nowadays. So there's more than one way to do things. But yeah, this is my piece. Yeah.
I don't think
I have a thoughts about the bloodline thing. So basically, I think it's a very Asian thing. I think it's not Asian thing, it's the whole world thing. When you marry to someone, your surname change to your partner's surname, and then the children will actually take the father's side surname, right? So I actually saw this kind of situation happen, just like what Stitch had mentioned. Modern girls nowadays, right, they started to actually use their own surname in their children's. So have you thought of this before? I actually thought of this before with my partner. Oh, why not when we actually have kids, two of them follow my surname and two of them follow your surname. So what do you guys think about this? Will your parents get triggered, or will you think that your parents get triggered, or those I mean, like, the boomers generation will get triggered with that?
I mean, it really depends on the parents, but at the same time, right? I think this situation depends on us because those are our children.
Exactly.
So what name we give them is our responsibility. I mean, maybe they'll get triggered. They'll be like, "What? You're starting new bloodline? What is this? Something that's new?" But at the end of the day, they are my children. I am going to take care of them. I am going to be feeding them. So I think I can do what I want with their names and how they want to be.
Even the children can change their name when they're adult, or they don't like your name, and then they even can change by themselves. So I don't think that's a really, I mean for those who are elders, for us, a serious matter lah.
Yeah, like
the most
Ruby
important.
mentioned. Sorry, Eunice. Just to squeeze in. Ruby mentioned if the birth certificate enough space, put however name you want. So it's fine.
You can, okay, in the end, you can put whatever name you want. But example, like you would have to, okay, just combine the surname, sure. But in the end, you would have to like know why you have the kids in the first place. Like, do you do it because like of your parents pressuring you to do it, or peer pressure, or just because you really want a kid and you're gonna take care of it, and not because like you want to increase the world birth rate?
I think I
want to speak about this thing, okay? So our parents, especially our grandparents, they're already like a grandparent already, but still they want to see our kids. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but then what is the point of giving birth to a child if I am not financially stable, if I'm not mentally prepared? I mean, that's the important part. You can't just give birth just for the sake of it, just because I'm married now I have to give birth. There is no system like that. It's up to the couple. It's up to the parents, actually. I mean, parents as in like the husband and the wife. Why would you want a kid just because everyone's pressuring you to? You should be ready. You should be financially ready. You should be able to give a proper environment. If not, then why are you bringing them into this? Like Mike said, it's a chaotic world. Why would you want to bring them? You have to be prepared instead of like bringing them and making it worse, right? That's what I think. I mean, it's not like I'm against having kids. I mean, I love kids. I love babies. It's just that until and unless I am prepared, I have this, thing that I want my kid to grow in a good place. There's no point otherwise. Don't bring them into the world.
Yeah, and I think, right, if you're gonna be someone, sorry, I think someone spoke. Did someone speak? No? Okay. And I think, right, like, if you're going to be doing it for peer pressure, that comes with so much of thoughts. That really comes so much of thoughts, because not only are you doing it for people, let us remind you that you are the one who is going to have to take care of the kid. And like me Cheryl saying, some people just should not have a kid, because when you do it because of peer pressure, or because of this person is asking, like grandparents are asking for a kid, it's gonna not only be not say a burden, but like an extra weight for you, but also for the kid, because the kid is gonna grow up with a lot of traumatic situations that come along with it. So and I think our generation is a little bit more smart these days when it comes to giving birth to children. They do think about it. I mean, that's what I've seen. They do think about it. They see their financial status, like Abhi mentioned. They see whether they are ready or not. But if you're going to do it for peer pressure, you better think twice.
All right.
Can I just say something like what Sneka said? Okay, it just reminded me of a quote by Mark Twain. So when people actually asked him whether he would prefer to be born or not, he had this response: I have been dead for billions of years and I have not suffered the slight least bit for it. So like when people try to make you have kids, when they say, think about all the happiness you could have, you can rebut them by saying this, because like you don't know how your kid is gonna, why would you take that risk? Because even if you try to give your kid everything, at the end of the day, they are their own person. You never know how they're gonna come out. So if you do not have kids, they will never exist, and therefore you are not responsible for them. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. All right. So actually, guys, it's 5 we're supposed to end this now, but then this has been like a really, really interesting discussion. We went from like we we went from
Too short. You can still go on if you want.
No, don't end it
alright.
yet. We got one last thing.
We're just about to start. No, let's go.
Go on, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
okay
go,
if
come
you're
on.
okay.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Hey.
So those who want to stay, you can continue to stay first, guys. And then well, this discussion is gonna go for a while. Okay, continue. You can guys continue to talk about birth rate.
Yo, all right. So let's okay. Let's get into the main sauce. Let's dip our fingers into the Szechuan sauce. Let's talk about breaching the gap, guys. Come on, it's about time. Everyone knows how to breach the gap to connect with one another. I think that's why everyone is here, to understand how to connect to your parents and to connect with your kids. So let's get to this. All right. So what do you guys think about bridging the gap? Anyone has any ideas?
I have a very weird opinion about it though. It's a very
Yeah, I have opposing about breaching.
It's not the typical method, I guess.
Because
if you want to speak.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys watched a movie called Christopher Robin. It's like a Winnie the Pooh live action movie. Made me cry. So bad. There's like one quote in that movie that I really, really love. It's called "The best of nothing brings out the best in something." And I think sometimes both parents and their kids think that they need to do something to, bridge the gap. And there are things you can do, like what we talked earlier, find a common ground, communicate and all that. But sometimes I feel it's best for both sides to realize that in certain scenarios, there's nothing for you to do and there's nothing you should do. Sometimes you just gotta grow out of it, give it time. And as you grow up, as your parents grow up, they get to know you, they will understand that there are some things that you like, some things you don't like, and you as a kid will understand, hey, my parents are doing these things because they love me, not because they hate me and all that stuff. Sometimes just letting time do everything is the best way, because for me in my family, that's what we've tried doing, that we tried finding common ground, we tried talking. Doesn't work in my family, right? But not saying it doesn't work in all families, but it doesn't work in my family. But in my family, what we just did, we just chilled. Instead of trying to understand, we just tried to support, because sometimes you don't need to know the whole story to fully support someone. Sometimes you just need to love somebody to be like, okay, what, I don't get it, but let's just see if we can make this work. And that's what my family did. And as time went on, we understood each other more. I understand why my parents were so strict with me, and my parents understood why I was so rebellious. Yeah, we just did nothing. We just went on with our usual lives, and it worked out well,
Yeah, and I think
Exactly, you did. Exactly. Seneca, you want something?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, Seneca, no. Do it. It's your time, Seneca. Say something.
Actually, like something coincidental happened today that actually that made me think about this parenting stuff. And just something similar to what Stitch said is actually we stumbled upon this book that was saying psychological ways to bring up your teenage child. And my mother just looked at the book and looked at me and was like, well, you grew up as a mess, but that was okay. So, I think it is okay for us to mess up in life. It is okay for you to go a little haywire now and then, because when you go haywire, you figure things out on your own. You're becoming independent on your own in a way. Although it brings you to a rough patch, you come out with that strength. You come out with that knowledge of what you've been through, and you know that you wouldn't want to do it again because you saw where it put you. And the same thing like Stitch said, sometimes it's just okay to not say anything. Although parents try to defend you or try to tell you off and scold you off, scolding is not going to change anything, because you're just going to get irritated by listening to them screaming at you. Hitting you is also not going to change anything, but again, it's an Asian culture family. If you don't kanna belt, if you don't get hegger, you don't get a hand slap or whatever, it doesn't finish up their parenting. But sometimes none of that works, because it only makes you hold a grudge on them. Honestly, if you ask me from my experience, because of the ways that I was brought up in their parenting, I only grew to have a grudge until a certain age. And it was unnecessary to have that, yes, but it's because of what you did. You get what I mean? So sometimes it's okay to just let them mess up. If it's really bad, then yes, you got to say something about it. If it's not that bad and it's this that age thing, then let them mess up. They'll grow out of it. They'll learn it themselves, if you ask me.
Great.
Michael?
Great. All right. Thank you, Yizhen. Thank you. All right. So from what I could relate to Stitch in a way, and I would say the family should be like fine wine. You get what I mean? It only gets better as the age goes by, So a relationship should be that way. At first, everyone is trying out things. It might not be the best. No one understands each other yet. But as time goes on, that's where you build your trust. That's where you build your honesty. That's where you connect with one another. I could relate to that to a very good point where when I was young, my parents didn't understand me. I was a rebel. I was pretty bad.
I think I have the same issue that Michael have, because basically, right? Do you guys remember social penetration theory? Social penetration theory.
You would have to explain to our audience here.
Sorry, okay. So basically, social penetration theory means that you have to reveal yourself just like a layer and layer of onions. Michael, I'll pass it back to you later. Basically, you have to actually reveal yourself layers by layers, like something like that, and then so that in order to get a better connection with the person that you wanted to. And yeah, just like what Michael has said and Stitch has said, we all have this very, very rebellious kind of age, okay, like teenagers age, okay? So from a very young kid, when we actually follow what our parents say, to actually our teenage years, when we actually can think by ourselves, we have our own perspective. So we don't follow what exactly our parents think and what they ask us to do. So this makes us to be apart with one another. So I think that this during this age is very crucial for us to actually started to automatically to volunteer ourselves to talk to them about how we feel, like penetrate those layers so that they can understand us, so that they can know how we feel. I think that most of the time during teenager, the reason why parents are so strict with us, are so being conscious, are very, like, for example, where are you going? Huh? Why so late, haven't come back yet? It's because we didn't tell them, we didn't like to reveal all of what happened to us most of the time. So they the more we don't want to reveal, the more mysterious we are, the more the more they want to know about us. So why not we take the first step? If I get a chance to go back to the past, right, I would do this. Okay, of course, during my teenage years, I haven't studied about a social penetration theory, so obviously I don't. But if let's say I really get a chance to do that in past, I would do that. I would reveal, hey, mom, do you know what happened to my school today? So it's actually built a very good connection between my parents and I did this in my university life. So we get a very good connection through social penetration theory. So
Actually, right,
of course,
I have something to oppose to your point there.
Sure.
Because right, how you mentioned when in teenage years, try to speak up to them. But like, okay, here's the thing. Okay, this is based on my experience. When they are so strict with you, to the point you can't even go out to them and be like, hi, like just a general hi. What more to go up to them and be like, hey, you know what happened in school today? Yeah? They'll just be like, can you please shut up and go? That would be the first thing they'll tell me. So, they have their own things to do. They have their own job to do. So when it comes to that, you ask me to go talk to my parents, they'll just look at my face. I got more work to do. Please leave. Don't talk to me now.
Snake
the right timing.
Miss Shara's like, the question is, why are they strict? Ooh.
Question, why are they strict? I don't know, miss. Their parents brought them up like that, and I ended up becoming it.
I can relate with what Sneka says. Like, for example, me and my parents too, it's sort of weird, but they're kind of emotional. So when I talk with them, I should have to visualize the conversation, if you get what I mean. Like, I need to plan ahead exactly what I'm saying, because I know if I make a mistake, if I say anything wrong, that will trigger them.
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
yeah, and like that will lead to a whole other big argument.
Because right, from my experience, oh sorry, Huisan, yes.
No, because my experience also, I mean, same. Like when I was a kid, I keep getting beat, okay? And then my mom will stand there, she cried, she cried and then she asked me, what the hell you want from me? What you want me to do? And then I was like, if I say I get beat, but I didn't say, then I get beat also. What's the
What's the
same
difference?
Yeah, what's the
there's
difference
no
of telling?
Because like there are some parents, sorry Zen, I'll come back to you. There are some
Yeah.
parents that, like how Ruben mentioned, right? When you go talk to them, you got to literally think out the conversation, and half the time, even if you think it out, their reaction can be worse or something completely different. And I think when it comes to from what I grew up, a little bit I raise my voice, I'll get emotional blackmail after that, and then I'll just keep quiet and kana what I kana and I go back. So what's the difference?
I remember one of you guys say that, oh, you have to talk to them, communicating with them at the very right point. Like for example, if let's say they come back when they're tired, of course you don't tell them lah. For example, but if let's say Saturday and Sunday, perhaps they're having some dinner or you guys having dinner, then you can say, you know what happened to my school today, and then we can start a conversation. Let the conversation goes lah. Of course, you have to be pandai lo, you have to be sing see look at the right situation, look at the right right timing, whether what to say, not to say. Of course, okay. I know to penetrate, to actually peel out the layers and layers, it takes a very strong courage, because you're scared that when you say something out to them to ask for their opinion, then they will guilt trip you and say, why you do like this. I know you guys need support, but yes,
I got a different I got no idea what you guys talking about, because when I and my dad, right, we will make fun of each other. It's to a certain point, right, that we don't really like find anything we say offensive to each other, because me and my dad like to practice the bad words. So me and my dad are quite close with them. We just like say the bad words openly to each other because we're pretty chill about it. And then when I want to talk to my dad, we have like so much topics to talk about. Like for example, we both are pretty we both like to have open discussions about Pokemon and Animal Crossing, if you guys know what it is, a video game. So I would say most of y'all didn't really have parents like that, and I'm sorry to hear that, but I would say not all parents are like that. I had parents that would actually listen to what I would say and understand. That makes sense. Same as Abi. I think Abi and me could relate to that. We both are in the same boat. So not all parents are like that,
I have something to say to what Stitch put in the comment. He said, when you prove them wrong, yeah, I'm always wrong, you're always right. Wait, what? When you try to prove them wrong, they go on this whole defense system that you've never seen them before.
Yeah, that's why I have a secret technique, which I told you guys about earlier. Sometimes it's just best not to do anything. If they question anything, I'll be like, okay, just wait for the results. And I just don't say anything. And I walk away. And then they'll be thinking the whole time, but then they can't get pissed off. They can't get pissed off because I haven't said anything wrong. You know what I'm trying to say? Sometimes it's best not to do anything, and just ask them to trust you that the results come up. And then when the results do come out, then they will know. Sometimes it's best to show the results instead of talking about it and going nowhere.
Yeah, you just have to prove it to them. Don't tell them, prove it to them.
But then put yourself in their shoes, like listening to your kids reasoning with you is kind of a bit like, because like you gave birth to them, and then and you're supposed to be the one who with the more experience, so you are giving him or her the advices. But then like when they don't listen, you just cannot like reel it in, and then you just show them that, you know what, because I gave birth to you, so you have to listen to me. But then like instead of that, you should just like try to reason with him, like tell him why I'm giving you this advice, why I'm telling you why I'm telling you that you should do this. So it's like it requires a lot more words, and then some people just don't want to explain that much to anyone, because also at that time we were pretty young, we can be rebellious, we didn't want to listen. So it actually requires like both sides to be open about like a certain decision when it comes to like discussing.
Yeah, and I just had to bring up one point you mentioned, experience. I mean, yes, they are older than us. Yes, they have experienced life, but there's one thing that, we all like both sides has to realize is we are both from different generations. What we experience is different, and what they would have experienced is different. Like just like how back then education was difficult, but now education is for everyone. There is a way for everyone to study. There is free education. There is, everything is here. But what we experience today in terms of problems in our teenage life is something that they wouldn't have experienced back then. You get what I mean? So
Yes.
it really does take time for both ends to realize both generations. And yes, communication is definitely a key, but sometimes it's just hard to sit in one place and listen to each other.
I agree, Sonika. Like I said, conversation and with your parents is like the top 10 most awkward things in the world you can have with your parents, It's like, it's very awkward, but then when you actually find the right things, or you find a common ground you both like, you can always start out with that thing first, and then from there you can move towards another discussion. So yeah,
Process. So yeah.
All right. So there's one question. What do you think, guys? What do you think would be the one thing that you can do to improve your relationship with your family?
But trust and understanding.
Being honest.
Hmm.
Trying to be honest as much as possible, no matter what the results are. Just be open, have the conversation, be honest. At least we're somehow they'll trust us, That's what's important, I guess.
I mean,
Both sides taking
parents,
initiative.
yeah, parents do trust us, but like it would be very hard for them because like me, I just have this kind of conversation with my parents earlier. Like I told them that I have to go for intern and I will have like 1 hour to travel there. And then somehow, because I'm working in a PR agency, so OT is sometimes a very usual thing. But when I told her about this, like, oh, I have OT sometimes, she'll be like, huh, what you got OT? You intern only, like you taking so less money and then you still have to OT for the company. Why you cannot go back home earlier? You know how long, blah, 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 everything, right? And I was like, okay. But eventually I think she trusts me on doing the intern thing, but it's just that it's somehow some things is very hard for her to understand that these things is actually happening. Is they're just worrying, but in another way, I have to prove to them. So I think understanding and also trusting is things that will keep my family into another whole new level.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Wei-san on this. Like, trust is like they do trust us, but at the same time, I don't blame them. Sometimes what they see around that's happening in the world, something that scares them as well. Like, oh, they see the news and they're like, no, you don't go out. Like that, those type of things. So, and understanding the point that okay, she is growing up, he is growing up, we are getting old, we have to see her do these things. We gotta get used to it. Okay, let's just grow together, and not restrict, even though they're getting older. Because even though when you're young, you restrict them, understandable. But when they're growing, you restrict them. That's why that's going to be a huge problem for them. So if they are growing, they have things to do, let them grow. Watch them grow and grow together, honestly. Like understand and growing together is something that comes with a family. And it's difficult when the transitions happen. But if you don't let them grow, it's even more difficult to see what it may do to them as well.
so true, Snika. I agree with you there. You should let your kids grow and be their own person, because that's how things should be. And I would say what I want to say my conclusion would be parents should listen more and kids should have the courage to speak their opinions out and to not suppress what they actually feel, because by being afraid or by suppressing, I'm not okay. Too many times I've been frozen in time. All right, so if they don't know how to express themselves, and if parents don't listen, that is just the one-way ticket to socially draining yourself and socially messing up your childhood, I would say. So listening and having the courage to know what to say. Not when I say, right, it's not by nagging and screaming and shouting. It's more like having a decent conversation with a person professionally or casually. That makes sense.
I could say, like, besides that, if you're not feeling comfortable talking directly with your parents, you could have an intermediary also. Like, maybe your parents trusts your siblings more than you. So you could use that sibling as a gateway. So you relay the message to your siblings and let them relay to your parents. So that at least they can communicate with your parents, they can make them understand if you can't make them understand.
Yes. Okay, as communication, because like most of us here are like communication students, we believe in the power of communication when it comes to like improving like relationships and stuff like that. So forgive us if we keep saying that communication is key. All right. So actually to us for this like discussion, we have established the notion that, well, both sides of our generation has to be like open to the fact that we have to like achieve a middle ground in order for us to get to know each other better. And then like we would need to spend more time, more efforts, and then maybe because like some of us we had parents who doesn't want to talk to us because they were just tired and everything. But then like probably for this is their part. But then if our generation did our part in trying to like achieve like a middle ground with our parents, so trying to get closer to our parents, then they also have to like do their parts, you know. And then that's how both our generations can get closer to each other, is like, you know, finding that middle ground, spending enough time, efforts, taking initiatives to just build this relationship together. All right. Actually, our discussion is kind of coming to an end, and I am very grateful that all of our panelists and our participants here, and then all of our audience are being so active in providing us comments and questions, and we were very happy to like answer all of them, and this has been a very exciting discussion for all of us. Agree, panelists?
Agreed. And Eunice, I think we should take a picture. We should take a screenshot of our
Yeah,
talk today.
I had so much fun, guys, to discuss about it.
Definitely. Thank you, Andrea, for giving us this platform as well.
I froze like 2 times, guys. Come on, I was doing a challenge.
You were so knowledgeable, time had to stop you, you know. The universe couldn't handle you.
Dude, you talked a lot, man.
Are you serious?
Guys, let me stop the live stream and we can do a big gallery picture if you allow me. Okay,
Yes,
so
great.
just thank you for everyone who was in the YouTube. I see a lot of people commenting. I put every comment here in the chat room also, so you could see that. Thank you very much for all of you. And if you would like to rewatch the session, just please do so. And don't forget to participate in the treasure hunt. Thank you very much, guys. Goodbye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.